Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, is opening up about her plans for Graceland and a promise to her mother.
Some places become famous because of what people can see. Others become legendary because of what they cannot. At Graceland, millions of visitors have walked through Elvis Presley's home. Yet, one part has remained almost completely untouched for nearly 50 years. The upstairs floor has stayed closed to the public since the day Elvis died there in 1977. Now, with his granddaughter Riley Keough helping protect the family's legacy, many people are asking the same question again. What secrets are really hidden upstairs? And is the truth as shocking as the stories people told for decades? Graceland is one of the most visited homes in America. According to Graceland and tourism reports, more than 600,000 people visit the mansion each year. Fans come from around the world to stand where Elvis lived, recorded music, laughed with family, and made history. But every tour ends the same way. Visitors reach the bottom of the staircase and stop. They look up, but they are never allowed to climb those famous steps. That simple rule has created one of the biggest mysteries in celebrity history. Over the years, rumors spread across magazines, television shows, websites, and social media. Some people claim priceless treasures were hidden upstairs. Others believe there were shocking family secrets waiting to be uncovered. A few even invented wild stories with no evidence at all. But separating fact from fiction is not always easy. As the oldest grandchild of Elvis Presley, Riley Keough has become one of the most important people protecting her grandfather's story. Following the death of her mother, Marie Presley, Riley stepped into a role filled with both honor and responsibility. Every decision she makes is watched by fans, reporters, and historians alike. Do you think some family places should stay private forever, even if they belong to one of the most famous people in history? The answer may seem simple. Yet when the family involved is the Presleys, nothing is ever that easy. Behind the closed doors upstairs are rooms that have remained largely unchanged for decades. According to Graceland officials and longtime family members, the area has been preserved much as Elvis left it. But why keep it closed after all these years? Is it to protect history, respect privacy, or something else entirely? The truth behind those locked rooms is far more personal than many people realize. And before we can understand Riley Keough's role in protecting Graceland, we first need to understand what it was like growing up inside America's most famous musical family. For most people, Elvis Presley is a music icon. He is the king of rock and roll, a global superstar whose songs still play decades after his death. But for Riley Keough, Elvis was something very different. He was family. Even though Riley was born years after Elvis passed away, his presence was everywhere in her life. His photos filled family spaces. His music was part of everyday conversations. His name followed the family wherever they went. From the outside, being part of the Presley family may have looked like a dream. Fame, success, and a place in history. But life inside one of the world's most famous families came with pressures that few people could understand. Riley has spoken in interviews about growing up between different worlds. On one side was a public image of the Presley family, known by millions. On the other side was a private family life that most people never saw. Those two worlds did not always fit together. As Riley got older, she began to understand something important. The public often felt as if Elvis belonged to them. Fans wanted to know everything about him. They wanted every story, every photograph, and every detail. But to the family, Elvis was not just a legend. He was a father, a grandfather, a son, a real person. That difference would become very important later. Many visitors who tour Graceland today see a beautiful historic home. They see Elvis's cars, costumes, awards, and famous rooms. But family members see something else. They see memories attached to those spaces. The upstairs area is one of the clearest examples. According to Graceland officials and family accounts over the years, the upstairs was Elvis's most private space. It included his bedroom and personal rooms. Unlike other parts of the mansion, it was never designed to become a public attraction. After Elvis died on August 16, 1977, the family made a decision that would last for decades. The upstairs area would remain private. At first, many people assumed the restriction would eventually end. After all, public interest in Elvis only continued to grow. Yet year after year, the rule remained unchanged. That decision created endless speculation. Books were written, rumors spread, stories became larger with each passing decade. Yet the people closest to Elvis continued to protect that space. As Riley matured and built her own successful career as an actress, she also became increasingly connected to preserving her family's history. She earned praise for performances in films and television projects, creating her own identity outside the Presley name. Still, no matter how successful she became, questions about Elvis always followed. Then tragedy struck the family once again. In January 2023, Lisa Marie Presley died unexpectedly at age 54. Fans around the world were shocked. The loss was devastating for those closest to her, especially Riley. Suddenly, Riley found herself carrying a responsibility unlike anything she had faced before. She was no longer simply Elvis's granddaughter. She had become one of the key protectors of a legacy worth hundreds of millions of dollars and cherished by fans across the globe. And that responsibility would soon place her at the center of one of Graceland's biggest mysteries. If you're enjoying stories that reveal what really happened behind the headlines, make sure to subscribe, because what comes next separates decades of rumors from the facts that Riley and the Presley family have quietly protected for years. The truth about the upstairs rooms is not what most people think. In fact, the real story may be far more surprising than any rumor ever created. For decades, people have asked the same question: what is hidden upstairs at Graceland? The mystery has inspired books, TV specials, online theories, and countless social media posts. Some stories claimed secret vaults were hidden behind the walls. Others suggested there were never-before-seen treasures waiting to be revealed. A few even imagined shocking discoveries that would change everything people knew about Elvis. But when trusted sources are examined, a very different picture appears. According to Graceland officials, longtime staff, and members of the Presley family, the upstairs has remained private for one simple reason: it was Elvis's personal living space. After his death, the family chose to preserve it as a private area rather than turn every room into a museum. That decision has never changed. People who work closely with Elvis have offered rare glimpses over the years. His cousin Billy Smith, who spent much of his life around Graceland, has described the upstairs as a place where Elvis could finally escape the demands of fame. It was where he relaxed, read books, watched television, and spent quiet time away from the public. There was nothing magical about it. What made it special was that it belonged only to him. The bedroom, dressing area, and private rooms have reportedly been kept much as they were after Elvis's death. Graceland executives have also explained that preserving those rooms helps protect both the family's privacy and the historical condition of the home. Even so, the mystery continues. Why? Because people often believe that what they cannot see must be extraordinary. The internet has only made those rumors grow faster. Videos with dramatic titles collect millions of views. Articles repeat stories without checking where they came from. Before long, fiction begins to sound like fact. Riley Keough has taken a different approach. Instead of feeding the rumors, she is focused on protecting what is real. In interviews following her mother's passing, Riley has spoken about honoring her family's history while making sure future generations understand who Elvis really was. Her goal has not been to create new myths. It has been to preserve the truth. That truth includes both the remarkable achievements and the ordinary moments. Elvis sold hundreds of millions of records worldwide. He won multiple Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1986, he became one of the first artists inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His influence can still be heard across rock, country, pop, and gospel music. Yet behind all those achievements was a man who also wanted a quiet place to rest. That is what the upstairs represented. Not a treasure room, not a hidden museum, just home. Of course, some details remain private, and the Presley family has every right to keep them that way. No credible evidence has ever confirmed many of the sensational claims that continue to circulate online. In fact, respected reporting and official Graceland statements consistently point to privacy, not secrecy, as the reason those rooms remain closed. Still, the story does not end there, because after Lisa Marie Presley's death, Riley faced challenges that had nothing to do with old rumors. Legal questions, public attention, and the future of Graceland itself suddenly became very real. The next chapter would test whether one person could protect not only a famous house, but an entire family legacy. When Lisa Marie Presley passed away in January 2023, the headlines focused on the heartbreaking loss of Elvis's only child. But behind the scenes, another story was quietly unfolding. The future of Graceland had suddenly become uncertain. For Riley Keough, there was no time to step away from the spotlight. Along with grieving the loss of her mother, she found herself carrying the weight of one of America's most famous family legacies. It was a responsibility that reached far beyond preserving old photographs or protecting a historic mansion. She now had to help protect a symbol that millions of people felt connected to. Then another challenge appeared. In 2024, Graceland became the center of a shocking legal dispute when a company claimed that Lisa Marie Presley had used the estate as collateral for a loan. The company even attempted to force a foreclosure sale of Graceland. The news spread around the world almost overnight. Fans feared the Presley family could lose the home Elvis loved. But the story quickly took an unexpected turn. Riley challenged the claim in court. According to court filings and reporting from respected outlets, such as the Associated Press, NBC News, and other major news organizations, lawyers for Riley argued that the documents behind the foreclosure effort were fraudulent. Soon after, a Tennessee judge blocked the sale. Federal authorities later announced that the alleged scheme involved forged documents, and criminal charges were eventually brought against the woman accused of orchestrating the fraud. The case shocked both Elvis fans and legal experts because it showed that even one of America's most famous homes was not safe from deception. For Riley, the court victory meant far more than winning a legal battle. It meant protecting her family's history. It also reminded the world that preserving a legacy is not only about memories. Sometimes it means fighting to keep those memories from being taken away. Most of us will never inherit a place visited by hundreds of thousands of people each year, but almost everyone knows what it feels like to protect something that carries deep personal meaning. Whether it's a family home, an old photograph, or a tradition passed down through generations, some things cannot be measured by money alone. That may be why so many people connect with Riley's story. She is not simply protecting a famous building. She is protecting the place where her grandfather laughed with friends, celebrated holidays, spent time with family, and lived the final chapter of his extraordinary life. As the legal battle faded, another question remained. Would Riley finally open the upstairs rooms to public? Despite years of speculation, there's been no credible indication that she plans to change the long-standing family decision. The upstairs continues to be treated as Elvis's private space, just as it has been since 1977. For many fans, that answer is disappointing. For others, it feels exactly right. But perhaps the biggest surprise is that the mystery itself has become part of Graceland's history. The closed staircase reminds visitors that even the world's biggest stars deserve a place that belongs only to them. And that leads to one final question. Does preserving Elvis's legacy mean revealing every secret, or knowing which story should remain inside the family forever? The story of Graceland has never been only about a house. It has always been about the people who filled it with life. For nearly 5 decades, fans have searched for answers behind the famous upstairs door. Some hoped to uncover hidden treasures. Others expected long-lost secrets that would rewrite history. Yet the truth turned out to be much more human. The upstairs is not legendary because of what is hidden there. It is legendary because it was the one place Elvis could simply be himself. Long before social media and 24-hour news, Elvis lived under constant public attention. Every concert, every relationship, and every career move became front-page news. Fame brought him incredible success, but it also took away many of the ordinary moments most people enjoy without thinking. Graceland became his refuge, and the upstairs became the most private part of that refuge. By keeping those rooms closed, the Presley family has sent a clear message for generations. Not every memory needs to become a public display. Some places carry a meaning that is too personal to place behind museum glass. Riley Keough now stands at the center of that decision. As an actress, producer, and the eldest grandchild of Elvis Presley, she has built a successful career on her own. But she has also accepted the responsibility of protecting one of the most recognizable family legacies in entertainment history. That responsibility is not always easy. Every interview brings new questions. Every public appearance sparks fresh rumors. Every decision is examined by millions of people who feel a connection to Elvis, even though they never met him. Yet Riley has consistently chosen a path based on respect rather than sensational headlines. Instead of revealing private family moments to satisfy curiosity, she has focused on preserving Elvis's true legacy, his music, his influence, and a memory supported by facts rather than speculation. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson in this story. Real history does not need exaggerated rumors to remain fascinating. The verified facts are already remarkable. Elvis changed popular music forever. His recordings continue to inspire artists around the world. Graceland remains one of the most visited private homes in the United States, welcoming hundreds of thousands of fans every year. His influence continues through museums, documentaries, biographies, and the family members who carefully protect what he left behind. And maybe the closed upstairs door serves one final purpose. It reminds us that even global icons are human beings. Behind every record-breaking career is a family. Behind every legend is a home. And behind every famous staircase is a story that does not belong to the public. That may not satisfy every rumor, but it may be the most honest answer of all. Section 2. For Riley Keough, Graceland was never just a tourist attraction. Long before she became an actress, producer, or the person helping protect Elvis Presley's legacy, it was simply a place where she spent time with her family. While millions of people saw Graceland as a symbol of fame and success, Riley saw it as her grandfather's home, a place filled with stories, memories, and emotions that the public rarely got to see. Riley, the daughter of Marie Presley and musician Danny Keough, grew up under intense public attention. Being Elvis Presley's granddaughter meant that cameras followed major moments in her life from an early age. Yet in interviews, Riley has often described Graceland as a place that felt warm and personal rather than glamorous. She has spoken about spending holidays there, riding golf carts around the property, and being surrounded by family traditions that continued long after Elvis's death. That image surprises many people. Fans often imagine Graceland as a frozen museum, but for the Presley family, it remained a living home. Every year, family members gathered there for celebrations and quiet moments away from the spotlight. Those private memories became one of the reasons the upstairs rooms were treated differently from the rest of the house. The second floor was Elvis's private space. According to Graceland executives, longtime staff, and multiple interviews over the years, Elvis used the upstairs area as a personal retreat, away from guests and the public. The space included his bedroom, dressing area, and office. Since his death on August 16, 1977, the family has chosen to leave that area largely untouched out of respect for his privacy and memory. But that decision did not stop the rumors. In fact, it may have made them stronger. For decades, books, television specials, and online theories suggested that the upstairs held hidden treasures or long-lost secrets. Some claimed there were documents that would change the story of Elvis forever. Others imagined secret rooms or dramatic discoveries waiting to be found. However, there has never been credible evidence to support these claims. Historians, Graceland representatives, and members of the Presley family have consistently said the decision to close the upstairs is about respect, not secrecy. Still, the mystery continued to grow because people are naturally curious. After all, when one door remains closed for nearly half a century, imaginations begin to fill in the gaps. And then life changed for Riley in a way no one expected. In January 2023, Marie Presley died at the age of 54. Her death shocked fans around the world and left Riley facing an emotional loss that went far beyond the headlines. Suddenly, she was not just Elvis's granddaughter. She became one of the key figures responsible for protecting the Presley legacy and the future of Graceland. At the same time, Riley found herself at the center of a very public family matter involving her grandmother, Priscilla Presley, and the estate of Marie. The dispute drew worldwide media attention, but by mid-2023, both sides reached a settlement, allowing the family to move forward. Through it all, Riley remained mostly quiet in public, focusing on honoring her mother and preserving the family's history. Everything seemed to be settling down. But with Riley now carrying so much responsibility, Fans began wondering whether the rules around Graceland might finally change. Would the famous upstairs rooms ever be opened? Or was there a deeper reason they remained untouched after all these years? What Riley eventually revealed about those spaces, and what people have misunderstood for decades, would give fans an entirely new way of looking at Graceland. Section 1. For almost 50 years, millions of Elvis Presley fans have walked through Graceland. They have seen his famous jungle room, his gold records, his cars, and even a room where he played racquetball. But every tour ends in exactly the same place. Visitors stop at the bottom of a staircase and look up. No one is allowed to go any farther. That single staircase has become one of the biggest mysteries in music history. Why has the upstairs remained closed for so many years? Is there something hidden behind those doors? Or is the real story very different from what people have been told? Graceland is much more than an old mansion. According to Graceland, it welcomes more than 600,000 visitors every year, making it one of the most visited private homes in the United States. Fans travel from every corner of the world to experience the place where Elvis laughed with friends, spent time with family, and lived the final years of his life. Yet the one place everyone wants to see is the one place nobody can enter. Over the years, that mystery has created endless rumors. Some people claimed Elvis left behind hidden treasures. Others believed secret documents or personal recordings were locked away upstairs. Online videos and magazine stories made the mystery even bigger, often without offering any real evidence. The truth, however, may surprise you. The Presley family has always treated the upstairs as Elvis's most private space. According to Graceland officials, it includes his bedroom and personal rooms, places that were never meant to become part of a public museum. Since Elvis passed away on August 16, 1977, the family has chosen to leave that area almost exactly as it was. That decision has lasted through generations. Today, Elvis's granddaughter, Riley Keough, has become one of the people responsible for protecting that legacy. After losing her mother, Marie Presley, Riley inherited more than family history. She inherited the responsibility of protecting one of the most famous homes in the world. If you were in Riley's position, would you open the upstairs to the public? Or would you keep it private forever? Let us know what you think in the comments. Before we can understand why that staircase remains closed, we first need to understand what the upstairs really meant to Elvis himself. And that story is far more emotional than most people realize. Section 2. To millions of fans, Elvis Presley was larger than life. On stage, he was energetic, confident, and unforgettable. Every performance drew huge crowds. Every new song became an event. But when the lights went out and the crowds disappeared, Elvis wanted something that every person wants. He wanted a place where he could simply be himself. That place was upstairs at Graceland. According to family members and longtime Graceland staff, the upstairs was Elvis's private world. It included his bedroom, dressing room, bathroom, and a small office where he could read, think, or spend quiet time away from cameras. Unlike the famous jungle room or the living room that visitors see today, these rooms were never designed for public tours. For Elvis, they were home. Friends who spent time with him have described a very different side of the superstar. He loved watching television late into the night. He enjoyed reading books about history, religion, and law enforcement. He often listened to gospel music and talked with close friends until the early hours of the morning. These moments rarely appeared in newspapers. They were private memories shared only with the people he trusted. Everything changed on August 16, 1977. That morning, Elvis was found unresponsive in his upstairs bathroom. He was only 42 years old. News of his death spread across the world within hours. Fans gathered outside Graceland in shock, unable to believe that the king of rock and roll was gone. His passing marked the end of an era, but it also created a difficult decision for the Presley family. What should happen to Graceland? Keeping the mansion closed would mean fans could never experience the place Elvis loved. Opening every room, however, would erase the last private space he ever had. The family chose a middle path. When Graceland opened as a museum in 1982, visitors were welcomed into many parts of the home. They could see Elvis's music room, dining room, jungle room, trophy displays, and famous collection of cars. Yet one area remained exactly as it had always been, the upstairs. According to Graceland executives, this was done out of respect for Elvis and his family, not because there were shocking secrets waiting to be discovered. Even so, the mystery only grew stronger. People began asking questions. What was left inside? Were there personal letters? Unreleased music? Hidden diaries? The internet turned those questions into dramatic stories. Some videos attracted millions of views by promising to reveal the truth about Graceland's upstairs. But when historians and trusted journalists looked into those claims, they found very little evidence to support them. The real story wasn't about hidden treasure. It was about boundaries. Elvis had spent his entire adult life in front of cameras. Almost every part of his life became public. The upstairs was one of the few places where he could close the door and escape the outside world. That is why the family has continued to protect it. If you're enjoying uncovering the real stories behind famous legends, make sure to subscribe. The next chapter reveals what Riley Keough has actually said about protecting Elvis's legacy, and why her approach is very different from the rumors spreading online. But after Marie Presley's passing, Riley's role became much bigger than anyone expected. What happened next would place her at the center of one of the biggest battles in Graceland's history. When Marie Presley passed away in January 2023, the Presley family faced one of the hardest moments in its history. Fans around the world mourned the loss of Elvis's only child. But while the public remembered Marie as a singer and the daughter of a legend, Riley Keough suddenly found herself carrying a responsibility few people could imagine. She was no longer just Elvis's granddaughter. She had become one of the main guardians of his legacy. For years, Riley had built her own career in Hollywood. She earned praise for performances in films like Mad Max, Fury Road, American Honey, and the Emmy-nominated series Daisy Jones and the Six. She worked hard to create a name for herself outside of the Presley family. But after her mother's death, the spotlight found her once again. Every interview brought the same questions. Would she change Graceland? Would she open the upstairs? Would she reveal family secrets? Riley's answer has been remarkably consistent. Instead of encouraging rumors, she has focused on protecting the family's history with honesty and respect. In interviews, she has spoken about preserving Elvis's legacy for future generations, not turning private family memories into public entertainment. That approach became even more important in 2024. A shocking legal dispute suddenly placed Graceland in danger. A company claimed that Marie Presley had borrowed money using Graceland as collateral and had failed to repay the loan. It announced plans to auction the property. The news spread across television, newspapers, and social media within hours. Many fans believed Graceland could actually be lost. But something didn't seem right. Riley challenged the claim in court. According to reporting by the Associated Press, NBC News, CNN, and court records, her legal team argued that the documents supporting foreclosure were fraudulent. A Tennessee judge quickly stopped the sale. Soon afterward, federal investigators announced that the alleged foreclosure plot was part of a fraud scheme. Authorities later charged a woman accused of creating fake documents in an attempt to steal control of the famous estate. It sounded like the plot of a Hollywood movie, but it was real. The case reminded everyone that protecting Graceland is about much more than preserving an old house. It is about protecting history from people who may try to profit from it. Most of us will never own a place known around the world, but almost everyone understands what it feels like to protect something that reminds us of the people we love. Whether it's an old family photo, a childhood home, or a special tradition, some things are simply priceless. That is why Riley's decisions have connected with so many people. She is not only protecting Elvis's legacy, she is protecting her family's memories. And perhaps that explains why the upstairs remains closed. It is not because of hidden treasure or unbelievable secrets. It is because some parts of a person's life deserve to stay personal, even after they become one of the most famous names in history. Still, one question remains. Will that famous staircase ever be open to the public, or will it stay closed forever? The answer may determine how future generations remember both Elvis Presley and the family that continues to protect his story. For nearly half a century, one staircase has kept the world guessing. Millions of visitors have stood at the bottom of those steps, looked toward the second floor, and wondered what they were missing. That curiosity has fueled books, documentaries, television specials, and thousands of videos online. Yet after separating rumors from verified facts, the biggest surprise is that there may never have been a shocking secret at all. The real story is much simpler, and perhaps much more meaningful. Elvis Presley spent most of his adult life living under constant public attention. Every concert was photographed. Every relationship became a headline. Every success and every struggle was discussed by people around the world. Very few places truly belonged to him. The upstairs of Graceland was one of those rare places. It was where he could relax after long tours. It was where he spent quiet moments with family and close friends. It was where the king of rock and roll stopped being a global superstar and became simply Elvis. That is why the Presley family has worked so hard to protect it. For Riley Keough, the decision is about more than preserving a room. It is about preserving dignity. While the public has every reason to celebrate Elvis's music and his impact on popular culture, not every personal moment has to become part of a museum exhibit. Sometimes history is protected by what is shared. Sometimes it is protected by what is respectfully kept private. That balance may be the greatest challenge Riley faces today. She must honor millions of fans who continue to support Graceland, while also respecting the wishes and memories of her own family. It is not an easy responsibility, but her actions suggest that she believes Elvis's greatest legacy is not hidden inside a locked room. It lives in his music. His voice continues to reach new generations through streaming services, documentaries, and classic recordings. Songs like Can't Help Falling in Love, Jailhouse Rock, Suspicious Minds, and If I Can Dream are still discovered by young listeners every year. His influence can be heard in artists across rock, country, pop, and even gospel music. Graceland itself remains one of America's most treasured historic homes, welcoming more than 600,000 visitors annually. People do not return because they expect to uncover secret rooms. They return because they want to feel closer to the man whose music changed the world. Maybe that is the greatest lesson this mystery teaches us. Not every closed door hides a shocking secret. Sometimes it protects a lifetime of precious memories. And perhaps that is exactly how Elvis would have wanted it. Ready to publish. Engagement CTA used. If you were in Riley's position, would you open the upstairs to the public, or would you keep it private forever? Let us know what you think in the comments. Conversion CTA used. If you're enjoying uncovering the real stories behind famous legends, make sure to subscribe. The next chapter reveals what Riley Keough has actually said about protecting Elvis's legacy, and why her approach is very different from the rumors spreading online. Community CTA used. Most of us will never own a place known around the world, but almost everyone understands what it feels like to protect something that reminds us of the people we love. Whether it's an old family photo, a childhood home, or a special tradition, some things are simply priceless. Retention CTA used. But Elvis's story leads to another fascinating mystery. Why has Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch remained surrounded by questions even years after his death? The truth behind that story is just as surprising, and you can watch it next.